Okay, two things before we get started here. One, I promise this will be the last time I shoot in this room. I have a curtain for my window that'll block some of the glare. We just can't seem to find a proper sized curtain rod to put in the window to hang the curtain from. As soon as that gets done, we should be able to shoot in there, and everything should be fine after that. Second off, no, I did not see Rogue One this weekend. If you know anything about the weather here in Bismarck, it got between 30 degrees below zero to 50 degrees below zero, and I just decided that staying inside as much as I possibly could was the better part of valor. If I do see Rogue One, it'll either be this upcoming Friday or the day after Christmas, which would be Monday. WWE Roadblock, or, well, to be more precise, Roadblock End of the Line, to as differentiated from the earlier special they had this year called Roadblock. Finished watching the show, give or take, about 15 minutes ago. So let's start things off here. Our first match is Rusev versus Big Cass. This is the kickoff show match. Obviously, we've been watching Raw. They've been doing this weird thing with Enzo hitting on Lana, and Lana luring Enzo into a trap, and Cass coming to Enzo's aid. But anyway, starting things off, Cass tossed Rusev into the corner and followed with a big boot, which knocked Rusev out of the ring. Cass then tied Rusev up in the ring ropes and began clocking him in the chest repeatedly. Rusev eventually got out of the ropes, went for a Savate kick. Cass countered that and hit an Empire elbow. At this point, the two men brawled out into the crowd. They started fighting. At this point, Lana went after Enzo. That distracted Cass enough to come back in. No, Rusev actually came in after that, knocked Enzo out. Cass began tending to Enzo. Rusev got into the ring, beat the 10 count, and that's how the match ended. Rusev winning by a count out. That was, and there's also going to be a rematch tonight on Raw. They must have been really desperate to have a kickoff show match if that's how they decided to book this thing. Not that I'm expecting a great match from Russo and Cass necessarily, but it could have been better than this. This was barely memorable. I mean, if I had not taken notes, I don't think I would have remembered that this was the kickoff show match. Okay, our second match of the evening, the Raw Tag Team title match, The New Day versus Sheamus and Cesaro. Sheamus and Cesaro got kind of a combo entrance now, I guess. They do the Cesaro James Bond thing. Before he rips off his clothes, he stops. They then do the Sheamus entrance, and then right as the light comes up, Cesaro rips off the tuxedo, and that's how they go down to the ring now. Anyway, starting things off, Cesaro drilled Kofi Kingston with a drop kick. It's right after the bell rings. Cesaro went right to it. Cesaro then tried to go for the big swing, but Kofi managed to get into the ropes. Sheamus tagged in and hit a rolling senton. Cesaro followed that up with a double stomp. Sheamus then took out Big E and whipped Cesaro into Kofi in the corner. Big E eventually would tag in. He speared Sheamus through the ropes. Big E then hit a big splash on Cesaro for a 2 count. Cesaro hit a corkscrew European uppercut. It's at this point Xavier Woods interfered, but Cesaro kicked out after Big E hit the big ending. Xavier kicked Cesaro while he was in the corner, and that enabled Big E to hit the big ending, but Sheamus broke up the pin count. Cesaro countered the Midnight Hour into a springboard Hurricane Rana. Cesaro then tried to do the big swing. Kofi fought out of it, but Cesaro countered it up into a suplex move, but then dropped Kofi down and managed to convert the suplex into the neutralizer. Got a 2 count, but Big E broke up the pinfall at that point. Eventually, Sheamus tagged in for a while. Sheamus and Kofi fought again, and then Sheamus went to tag Cesaro. Basically, Cesaro faked out the tag. Made it look. Sheamus was reaching out. Suddenly, Cesaro yanked his hand back at the last minute. Cesaro entered the ring. Kofi hit the Trouble in Paradise on Cesaro, but that enabled Sheamus to basically kind of jump over Cesaro and roll Kofi up in a small package for the 3 count. We finally have new tag team champions after New Day broke Demolition's record. After it was 383 days, it's Sheamus and Cesaro are the tag champions. Afterwards, New Day regretfully, or well, not so much regretfully, but very honorably handed over the belts. Cesaro went over and hugged the New Day, but Sheamus did not. So it appears, even though they've now clicked together long enough to actually win the belts, Sheamus and Cesaro are still not getting along. Great match. Totally made up for that dud of a kickoff show match. Helped keep my attention at least for a little while. Heck of a match. It's going to be interesting to see where they go from here. I don't think they're going to get the belts back on the New Day just yet. I think they're going to drop them. I think Sheamus and Cesaro will probably drop them either at the Rumble or maybe I forget what the Raw February pay-per-view is. I think it's Fastlane. I know they want to get Enzo and Cass into the tag title picture pretty soon here as well. So I'm guessing at some point they're going to drop it to either the Club or maybe even back to New Day, who are going to turn heel. But we'll see what happens after that. Okay, our third match is Sami Zayn versus Braun Strowman. Sami Zayn must last at least 10 minutes in order to win the match. And yeah, this was bad. Early on, Zayn chopped Strowman. I have to take my notes here, sorry. Zayn began chopping Strowman, but basically was unfazed by it. Strowman then just began tossing Zayn around the ring. At one point, Strowman got to the outside. Zayn went for a plancha, but Strowman countered it and dropped Zayn face first on the corner of the ring. Strowman then continued beating on Zayn and beating on Zayn and beating on Zayn and beating on Zayn as the clock just kept ticking. And yeah, they had a clock up on the screen and just kept ticking down and down and down. Finally, Mick Foley came out with a towel intending to throw it in and end the match. Strowman turned to Foley and said, "Throw it in, end this match. I'm just beating on it. There's no point." And Zayn was just, no. Finally, Zayn ripped the towel from Foley's hand and threw it out into the crowd. Zayn then goaded Strowman into charging him, ducking out of the way. Strowman crashed into the ring post. Strowman then crashed into the barricade in a similar manner. They got back into the ring. Zayn hit a big haluva kick just as time was about to expire, so Zayn met the 10-minute requirement and thus won the match. I probably made that match sound much more interesting than it was, because there was just a lot of dead space in there. I mean, even when Foley came out, it was just Foley standing there and standing there and standing there. I started to fall asleep. Just a real downer of a match, unfortunately. Okay, our next matchup is Seth Rollins versus Chris Jericho. Again, much like the previous match, there was a lot of slow down bits in this, a lot of sleeper holds, a lot of arm drags and arm bars. Rollins opened up by hitting an arm drag into an arm bar. Jericho rolled out of the ring. Rollins then hit a flying knee from the apron. Jericho used the referee as a shield and then raked Rollins' eyes. Rollins countered an attempted code-breaker into a Sarge bump. Jericho hit a springboard dropkick, sending Rollins out of the ring. Jericho went for the walls of Jericho, but Rollins got to get to the ropes. Rollins countered a bulldog and tossed Jericho into the ring post. Again, there's just a lot of stuff like that. A lot of Jericho and Rollins lying in the ring. Rollins began to rally. He hit a big blockbuster for a 2 count. Jericho countered a flying knee into the walls of Jericho. Rollins got to the ropes. Jericho countered a pedigree into the walls of Jericho. Rollins countered that into a small package. It's at this point that Kevin Owens did a run-in. He got down into the ring. He started distracting Rollins. Jericho rolled Rollins up and only got a 2 count. Jericho then went for a code breaker. Rollins countered that into a pedigree for the 3 count. This match should have really been better than it was. I'm not going to say it was terrible. I mean, it was not the previous match between Sami Zayn and Braun Strowman, but this, like I said, a lot of slow down parts of this, a lot of sleeper holds and arm drags, and guys just lying out in the middle of the ring, which, again, I understand sometimes you need to have match filler like that, but there can be too much. Okay, our next match is the triple threat match for the Cruiserweight Tag Team, just the Cruiserweight Championship. Rich Swan versus the Brian Kendrick versus TJ Perkins. Again, sorry, got the notes. Let's see. Austin Aries joined the announce team for the Cruiserweight match, which was pretty cool. Anyway, Perkins went for a quick roll-up right away on Rich Swan. Swan did a spin kick on Kendrick, knocked him out of the ring. Perkins hit a drop kick through the ropes on Kendrick. Swan hit a double Hurricane Rana, which is probably the best move there. Swan hit a missile drop kick on Perkins, and Kendrick basically slipped in and got Swan in the captain's hook. But Perkins broke up the pin. Perkins locked on a knee bar. Swan locked a knee bar on Kendrick. Swan broke that up with a splash. Perkins then got a knee bar on Swan. Swan got to the ropes, and Perkins actually let it go, even though in a triple threat match, there's no disqualification, there's no rope break, so he should have just left it locked on. And even the announcers acknowledged that that was a kind of stupid move. Anyway, Kendrick got back in the ring. Both Perkins and Swan hit a super kick on Kendrick, knocked him out of the ring. Perkins then hit his big spin kick, not Perkins, Swan hit his big spin kick on Perkins for the 3 count, and the match was over. The interesting part of this is what happened after the match, which is Neville's music hits. He started coming down to the ring. They talked about how Neville worked with Rich Swan in training, worked with TJ Perkins before, and Neville just starts beating up both guys, and they're just, he's kicking them. Neville's got a beard now. Even Corey Graves, who was Neville's tag team partner in NXT, said, "I've never seen Neville act like this before. He just assaults both guys." The crowd is behind Neville, even though Neville's supposed to be a heel. Overall, the match is, again, just filler. Although if I were to resort this pay-per-view, I would have gotten rid of the Rusev Big Cass match and put the triple threat in the kickoff show spot. I think that would have worked a bit better. It was a bit more of an exciting match for that point. For this point in the pay-per-view, it just kind of felt, like I said, a bit like filler. The only noteworthy thing now is Neville's a heel, even though the crowd was still cheering him, which speaks a lot to the Cruiserweight division. I do like that we now have another Cruiserweight heel. We only had a couple, at least, I mean, if you want to count guys like Drew Gulak or Arya Daivari, but they're not quite contending for the champion. Neither of those guys are contending for the championship just yet. Neville could come in and contend for the championship right away. So they'll at least have that going for them. Okay, our next match is the 30-minute Iron Man match for the Raw Women's Championship. Sasha Banks versus Charlotte. Her second match to feature a countdown clock. Match opened up with a lot of chain wrestling. Sasha did a cool move where she countered a test of strength into an attempted victory roll. Sasha then went for a sleeper on Charlotte. Charlotte broke the sleeper by basically doing kind of a sit-down move. She picked Sasha up while Sasha was still on her back, and then Charlotte sat right down, and Sasha took the big blow on that. Sasha hit a double knee stomp off the ring apron. Sasha locked Charlotte in a straitjacket hold, but Charlotte didn't tap out. In fact, the match went about 20 or so minutes before the first fall happened. And that was, Charlotte hit a top rope natural selection for the first fall. Sasha then countered did a tilt-a-roll head scissors into a roll-up for the second fall. Sasha then rolled away for a moonsault and locked on the bank statement. Charlotte tapped out. That was the third fall. Sasha was now up 2-1 at this point. The clock began ticking down. There was about 6 or so minutes left in the match at this point. Charlotte got Sasha in a position where Sasha's knee was kind of caught on the second ring rope, and so Charlotte took it and she stamped down on it. She stamped down on it. She began targeting Sasha's knee, targeting it. The clock began to tick down, down, down. Finally, Charlotte went for the figure 4, bridged it into the figure 8. Sasha desperately tried not to tap out. Desperately, the clock hits the final minute. Finally, with about 3 seconds left, Sasha taps out. It's a 2-2 tie. Ref immediately gets out of the ring, goes to the timekeeper and says, "I have been instructed to make sure that there is a winner in this match. We are entering sudden death." They enter sudden death. Before the bell rings to truly start the sudden death round, Charlotte starts attacking Sasha's knee again. Sasha, as the bell rang, Sasha immediately went for a couple of small package holds. Charlotte kicked out. Sasha tried to go for the backstabber into the bank statement. She couldn't quite hold on because her knee hurt so much. Sasha eventually did go for another bank statement. Charlotte rolled out of it, countered into a figure four, bridged it into a figure eight, and held it, and Sasha finally gave up. Sasha was bleeding from the mouth at this point. Sasha tapped out. Your new women's champion is Charlotte. Now, far and away, this was the match of the night. These two, again, just went above and beyond the Call of Duty. Maybe, dare I even say, saved the show at this point. That being said, again, we have Charlotte winning on a pay-per-view when Charlotte lost the belt on Raw. It's got real tiresome. I am glad that they finally said this is no more after this. There was no rematch clause put in the contract. So they can finally start grooming the Charlotte Bayley feud that they've been trying to groom for the past couple of months. So, couple of months, maybe more like 4 months. Sorry. Again, looking to see if Sasha can do something else for a while. I guess the big rumor now is she's going to enter into a feud with Nia Jax, maybe. Don't know how that's going to turn out. Okay, and let's move on to our final match of the night. The main event, the WWE Universal Championship match. Kevin Owens versus Roman Reigns. Now, Roman Reigns' U.S. Championship was not on the line in this match. Again, this match had some great moments in it. Unfortunately, again, it had a lot of slow-down moments and a lot of filler. Like, right off the bat, as soon as the bell rang, Owens rolled out of the ring and tried to sort of walk off and bide his time. Owens was kind of distraught with the whole thing, as it looked like his friendship with Jericho had truly fallen apart. Reigns eventually went after Owens and began bouncing Owens' head off the announce table. Reigns then whipped Owens into the barricade. Owens began to fight back. He dropped Reigns' throat first across the ring announcer barricade where the little bell and the announcers, that area where he sits. Owens locked on a sleeper hold again. A sleeper hold in the middle of this match is, in the middle of a slow-moving match is not a good thing. But the one bright spot to it was, as he had Reigns in the sleeper hold, he was mocking Roman for not putting the U.S. title on the line at the same shot. Roman fought out. Owens hit a flipping leg drop and got a 2 count. Roman fought out. Went for a Samoa drop. Owens countered that into a German suplex. Owens went for a cannonball. Roman got out of the way. Owens countered an attempted Superman punch into a DDT. He got Reigns into the corner. Owens hits the cannonball. Reigns then springs out of the cannonball, immediately lands a Superman punch, only gets 2 count. Owens countered a superplex attempt into a top rope DVD for a 2 count. Reigns countered a swanton bomb by Owens. Sorry, I'm getting a marble mouth here. Reigns put his knees up as Owens was doing the swanton. Owens countered an attempted drive-by with 2 super kicks. He set Reigns up on the ring table, one of the announce tables. He jumped from the ring announcer's area. He did a frog splash onto the announce table one time. The table did not break, so he went up and he did it again. The table broke this time. Owens gets in the ring. Reigns just barely beats the 10 count into the ring. Owens hits a pop-up powerbomb on Reigns, but Reigns was too close to the ropes. He managed to get a foot up after he got a foot on the bottom rope after the 2 count. Owens tried to hit Reigns. Owens got out of the ring. He got the title belt. He went to hit Reigns with it, but then Jericho runs in. Jericho hits Reigns speared Owens. Then Jericho ran into the ring. Jericho looked at Reigns. He looked at Owens. He looked at Reigns. He started to go for the belt. Then Owens got up, and Jericho immediately hits him with the code breaker. So, yeah, it looks like Jericho is broken up permanently. But the ref sees it, calls for the bell, disqualifies Roman Reigns. And as that happens, Jericho picks up the belt, hands it to Kevin Owens, and smiles. And then the two celebrate in the ring because Reigns lost the match, not Owens. And Owens keeps the belt. Excuse me. After that, the two celebrate in the ring. It's then that Seth Rollins comes out. Rollins and Owens Rollins and Reigns. I'm sorry. Rollins and Reigns beat up on Owens and Jericho. They powerbomb Jericho through an announce table. They then powerbomb Owens through the Raw announce table, which is way on the other side of the stage. And that's how the show ends. Like I said, I will say this. The main event was a better than average match, but unfortunately, again, a lot of dead spots. A lot of dead spots in a lot of these matches. Did not add to a quality show. I will say this. Three of the four title matches were above average. The tag title match, the women's title match were great. The Universal Championship match was pretty good. The Cruiserweight match, like I said, was pretty good. Not spectacular. Like I said, I would have used that as the kickoff show match, not in the middle of the show. The kickoff show match is completely forgettable. So, after everything involved in that, I am going to give Roadblock, End of the Line, a C. Okay, so, well, next video up will be might be the Star Wars Rogue One review, might be the random trade review on New Avengers Volume 1 Breakout. Just kind of started scripting that in the last few days here. Basically, I'm in the middle of the story, though, so there's no real worries there. Next wrestling video will be the NXT TakeOver San Antonio, which is on January 28th. The Royal Rumble will be the next night. The Royal Rumble review video will probably be up on January 30th, which is the Monday after that. See you all then.